Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, but it appears that it is not the song which is titled The Sound of Silence, but that this is actually a Linux tutorial. Hello, guys, and today we are going to talk about the chmod command. Now, chmod command is used to change permissions of a file. Okay, and so before we actually talk about the command, and I have my terminal opened up here, as you can see, and I'm all ready to go, but I think we first need to talk about octal and binary numbers. Well, now you'll be thinking like, oh geez, why binary? Why do I need to know binary? Octal numbers, what are those? Why do we need to deal with that? Well, you don't really need to know those things, but I think it greatly simplifies things and it's not that hard to understand. So I actually want to explain it to you in a very simple, convenient way. But in order to do that, I will first explain some stuff related to binary and octal digits. Okay, so let me switch to this drawing program and let me take up my graphics pad off of the table. Here we go. And yeah, so now we can begin. So let's look at user permissions. Let's say that you have, and by the way, the same applies for group permissions and for world permissions. Let's say that you have these permissions. So RW dash. Okay, so the user can read, the user can write, and the user can't execute. And so if we had a binary number, and binary numbers just use ones and zeros, then we could represent it as 1, 1, 0. Okay, so basically where we have certain things enabled, we could have a 1, okay, because we can read, we have 1 here, because we can write, we have 1 here, and because we can't execute, we have a 0 here. Okay, now how do we read 110 in binary? Okay, so this is a binary number and it is usually denoted as such. So basically you just type in parentheses and you type write 2, because that way you know that it's written in binary. But let's first see how would we read this number in decimal. Okay, so 110 in decimal would be equal to 0 times 10 to the power of 0 plus 1 times 10 to the power of 1 plus 1 times 10 to the power of 2. Okay, so this would be 110. Okay, 110 would be equal to this thing right here. Okay, and the same logic applies to binary numbers. Okay, so if we had, and let me just scroll down a little bit right here. So we have, and let me start writing somewhere here. Okay, so we have 110 and it's in binary. What that means is we have 0 times 2 to the power of 0, and now we have 2 instead of a 1 because we are dealing with base 2, right? You were dealing with just 2 digits, so this is called the base. And then we type plus 1 times 2 to the power of 1 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 2. So actually, we are dealing with the number 6, okay? Because we have 0 times anything is 0, 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 4, because 2 squared is 4, we have 2 plus 4, that is 6, okay? So essentially, we are dealing with the number 6, okay? And a cool thing about number 6 is that it can exist in both the decimal system, okay, in the system with 10 digits, but number 6 can also exist in the octal system because the octal system has 8 digits. Now, the decimal system has digits from 0 to 9, as we already know, hopefully you do know from math, and octal has digits 0 to 7, okay? And so basically what is happening here is that we can always convert a 3-digit binary number to an octal number, because 111 in a binary is actually 1 times 2 to the power of 0 plus 1 times 2 to the power of 1 plus and I just repeated this plus here, 1 times 2 to the power of 2, and if you actually add up all of those together, we get a 7. Okay, so 111 is actually a 7. Okay, and so 111 would correspond to both read, write, and execute. Okay, and now when we are going to be using the chmod command, what we'll actually be doing is we'll be saying, okay, chmod, for example, let's use 777. This is just an example. Okay, so let's say we use chmod 777. What happens is actually these are octal digits. So we can think of some intermediary step as the following: chmod 111, 111, and then 111. And basically, this would set our permissions to read, write, execute, read, write, execute, and read, write, execute. And what would that mean is that the user could both read, write, and execute. The group could read, write, and execute, and the entire world, which is everybody else who's not neither the user nor the group, could also read, write, and execute. Okay, and so basically by adjusting these octal digits, because for example, instead of a 7, we wrote a 6, then here we would have a 0. Okay, we would have a 0 right here, and then instead of an X here, we would have a dash. Okay, and so basically by playing around with these digits, we are actually dealing with, we can actually modify the permissions we want to set. Okay, and somebody's calling me on the phone again, but I'm just going to finish the tutorial before I answer, and hopefully it will not cause any anxiety. You know, think about peaceful pictures, think about peaceful pictures, think about, okay. So basically, I just wanted to list the numbers, or actually, I'm not going to list them. I'm going to refer you to my website or to my LinkedIn profile, because there I listed all of the numbers in Octal and their corresponding binary numbers. But let's just kind of convert another number in, let's say, an octal to a number in binary. So let's say we are looking 3 in octal, and in binary, that would be 0, 1, 1. Why would it be 0, 1, 1? Well, because we have a 1 here, we have a 1 here, and we have a 0 here, and we are looking at the number from right to left. And so this would be 1 plus 2, because this would be 1 times 2 to the power of 1, and this would be 0 times 2 to the power of 2. Okay, and as you can see in this example, just to kind of bring it back up, when we had a 6, we actually, okay, this 111, yeah, when we had a 6, we also looked at the number from right to left. Okay, maybe I failed to mention it. Maybe that clears some of these things up. Okay, so if you want the list, check out my written content. But I think you should definitely be comfortable with these conversions, because again, they're not really that difficult. If they seem difficult, don't worry. You know, for me, maybe they don't seem difficult because I've done it hundreds of times and, you know, used it professionally, etc. So if you find it difficult, feel free to rewatch these tutorials, or, you know, to Google octal to binary and binary to octal, so that you understand what's going on better. Okay, so now let's actually revisit our command line. Okay, let's actually get back to this, and actually let's see how we would use the chmod command. So if I wanted to change the permissions of the ls.txt command, and let's see the current permissions of the ls.txt command, we can see permissions are the user can read and write, the group can read, and the entire world can read. Okay, and let's say we wanted to prohibit anyone else besides the user from reading the file. So basically what we would do is we write chmod, and then we will write 600, because 6 would correspond to read and write, and the user couldn't execute, can't execute a file. But 00 means that we are going to eliminate, because 0 actually means 000. And if you remember, if there's a 0, that means that there's going to be a dash. Okay, so we are going to have 000, 000, and that means that neither the group nor the world will be able to read. Okay, and now we will just type in ls.txt, press enter, and now that I type in lsl ls.txt, we can see that permissions have indeed changed and that the group and the world can't read our file anymore. Okay, so you can also use another notation. I just want to know this. Instead of using these numbers, you can use what is called symbolic notation, but I personally found this notation much easier to understand. And I think that it's far more common for people in various tutorials to use these numbers than it is to use the symbolic notation. Okay, but just be aware there is symbolic notation if you find this very difficult. But again, even if you find this difficult, I think that, listen, some things are simply going to be maybe a little bit difficult at the time you are learning them. And, once you get a hold of them, they're not really going to be that difficult. Okay, so this was like a tidbit of wisdom, tidbit of penguin wisdom that I just shared with you. But yeah, I would just say, rewatch the tutorial. Feel free to Google around if you don't really understand something. And yeah, that would be it for this tutorial. Use the chmod command to change your file's permissions. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you will use this knowledge if you ever need it, and most likely you will need it at one point or the other. And that's it. Talk very soon.